Curious minds to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey into the world of traditional remedies. We're focusing on a plant you might know, St. Mary's thistle, or more formally, Carduus Marianus. Our source for this is, well, it's an excerpt from a really foundational text in homeopathy, William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica. And our mission really is to dig into the traditional properties and use this, see what this historical text tells us, get those surprising insights out. Shall we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. And what's so interesting about these materia medicas like Boericke's is they aren't just lists. They're these really detailed compilations of observations, effects people saw, how things were used. It gives you this unique window into how they understood these substances back then. It's quite a holistic view.
Yeah.
Actually, very different from how we might look at it today.
Exactly. That's a great point. And with Cardius Marianus diving right into the source material, its action seems really powerfully focused. It's centered on the liver and the portal system.
The portal system.
Yeah, that vital network of veins carrying blood from the digestive organs straight to the liver. That really seems to be the key, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's the core.
Mm-hmm.
And the main effects they noted traditionally were pretty specific. Things like soreness, pain, and jaundice. And connecting that outward, the text links these to broader things like, well, dropsical conditions.
Ah.
That's like fluid retention or swelling,
Right.
if they thought it depended on liver disease, or issues coming from pelvic congestion, again, tied back to hepatic disease. It really shows a kind of deep, perceived understanding of how systems in the body connect, even back then.
Okay, now this really jumped out at me. The text explicitly mentions using it for issues from, and I quote, the abuse of alcoholic beverages, especially beer.
Mm.
I mean, that's so specific for that era, right? What does that signal to you?
It's remarkably specific, yeah. It suggests, really focused observation, maybe seeing it work traditionally where the liver was under a particular stress, like with alcohol. But it goes broader too. The Materia Medica talks about its specific relation to the vascular system,
Ah, okay.
which historically led them to use it for things like varicose veins and ulcers. It also mentions an effect on sugar metabolism and various kinds of hemorrhages, especially if they were linked to liver problems.
So we're seeing this traditional influence really ripple outwards from the liver.
Yeah.
And then there are the more general things like debility and using it historically in influenza when the liver is affected. It paints a picture of it being seen as quite a broad support.
Indeed. It definitely points towards a more holistic view where the liver's health was seen as fundamental to your overall well being, affecting everything from just your energy levels to how your body might handle, say, the flu.
Okay, so we've got this broad picture, the liver focus, but now let's zoom in. Because the way these effects were cataloged across the whole body, literally head to toe, is fascinating. This is where the Materia Medica gets incredibly detailed. What can you tell us about how it was thought to affect the mind traditionally?
Okay, for the mind, the source mentions things like feeling despondent, forgetfulness, even a kind of apathy. The moving to the head, you see descriptions like a contractive feeling above eyebrows, a sort of dull, heavy, stupid sensation.
Oof.
Yeah, often with a foul tongue. Also, vertigo, where you feel like you might fall forward, burning and pressure in the eyes, and even nosebleeds.
Wow, okay. And what about the stomach? What traditional impacts are noted there?
For the stomach, the picture includes a bitter taste, and this is interesting, a specific aversion to salt meat.
Huh.
Yeah. Small appetite, furred tongue, nausea, retching, and quite notably, vomiting of green acid fluid.
Green fluid. That definitely sounds like bile, linking back to the liver again.
Exactly. It points strongly towards bile involvement in their understanding. The text also mentions stitches in left side of stomach, near spleen, and its traditional association with gallstone disease with enlarged liver.
Makes sense. Let's keep moving down the abdomen and bowel movements.
Right, in the abdomen, the focus stays near the liver. Traditional notes mention pain there, with the left lobe very sensitive. Also sensations of fullness and soreness with moist skin. For bowel movements, the traditional characteristics are pretty descriptive. Constipation, stools hard, difficult, knotty. But then it also says it alternates with diarrhea.
Okay, so variability there.
And stools described as bright yellow. Plus mentions of swelling of gallbladder with painful tenderness, hyperemia of liver, that means excess blood with jaundice, and even traditional use in cases of cirrhosis with dropsy.
And what about the rectum? Any surprising details there?
Well, for the rectum, the Materia Medica lists traditional uses for hemorrhagic piles, prolapse of rectum, burning pain in anus and rectum, stools again described as hard and knotting, claycy stools, But interestingly, there's also this very specific note about a traditional application for profuse diarrhea due to rectal cancer.
Wow.
And it even gives a dose detail, 10 drops doses of Wappler, mentioning a specific practitioner or reference, which is quite intriguing.
That is specific. Okay, let's round up the body scan. What about urine? Chest, skin, and extremities.
Okay, urine is traditionally described simply as cloudy, golden colored. In the chest, you get stitching pains in lower right ribs and front, which are worse moving, walking, etc. It highlights asthmatic respiration and connects this specifically to diseases of minors associated with asthma.
Ah, an occupational link.
Yes, suggesting an environmental factor connection in their view.
Yeah.
There's also chest pain that radiates, goes to the shoulders, back, loins, abdomen, often with an urge to urinate. For the skin, itching, traditionally noted on lying down at night, it repeats the mention of varicose ulcers
Right.
and adds an eruption on lower part of sternum.
No.
And finally, extremities, pain in the hip joint, spreading through the buttocks and down the thigh, noted as worse from stooping. Difficulty getting up, and a weakness felt in the feet, especially after sitting.
Wow, that level of detail is just incredible. It really speaks to the sharp observation skills they must have had back then. So, bringing it together, what about its relationships to other remedies mentioned? How does that help us understand it?
Right, the relationship sections in these texts are really valuable. They're like cross references within that homeopathic system.
Yeah.
So for Carduus Marianus, the historical comparisons listed include Carduus Benedictus, which apparently also acts strongly on the eyes and gives a sense of contraction, plus similar stomach issues. But
Wow.
also Chelidonium, Cheatanthus, Mercurius, Podophyllum, Bryonia, and Aloe. Listing these helps, differentiate Carduus's specific profile within that traditional framework.
Got it. And just briefly, the source mentions the dose as tincture and lower potencies. What does that tell us?
Well, in the context of homeopathy described in the text, it suggests they were using preparations that were less diluted, perhaps closer to the original substance, more concentrated forms. It gives a little insight into the practical application historically.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this deep dive up. We've seen Carduus Marianus, St. Mary's Thistle, understood historically as this, well, really powerful remedy. Its core focus clearly on the liver and portal system, but
Mhm.
from that core, its influence was thought to ripple out, affecting this huge range of symptoms all over the body, all meticulously detailed in Boericke's Materia Medica.
Yeah, and if you think about the bigger picture here, it's just fascinating how these traditional systems, like homeopathy, saw the body so interconnected. The idea that one single plant, through its action on a key organ like the liver, could be thought to influence such a diverse set of conditions, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What can these comprehensive sort of historical views teach us about the body's complex network? And how does that resonate, if at all, with how we understand health today?
That's a really great final thought. Definitely makes you appreciate the depth of that historical botanical knowledge and just how different eras tried to figure out health using nature. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.